Welcome back. You are still tuned in to Funtastic Fridays, and the segment is called Talk the Ting with Kim, and we're discussing understanding the effects of childhood trauma. So far we have discussed what trauma is, some different types of events or traumatic events that we all may have more than likely have experienced, and at least a couple of them as well, and then even some of the effects that these traumatic events will have on kids, right? So if you're just joining, just know that every single Talk the Ting with Kim episode is recorded and it is shared on our YouTube channel. So if you just joined late, it's fine, we got you. You can go check it out on YouTube by checking out Funtastic Fridays. All right, now while we're on the break, I got some comments on the live. Mama Knows JA says, sometimes we go through multiple trauma from childhood to adulthood that goes unchecked, and it causes so many problems that are shown in different ways depending on the person and how they process things or don't process it at all. Right? So that's something to consider. All right. Go ahead.
We have one here coming in on the WhatsApp line. Kenny says, did you mention the fact that many traumatized persons also become silent?
That is another thing, and that's one of the things that Mama Knows said. She said parents should always try to listen to their children. They also have a voice that is most times stifled. And as parents, no matter how busy life gets, we should try and make time, no matter how small, and talk to our children and really try to find out what's on their mind, especially the ones that don't talk.
There's this TikTok song that goes, are you silent? Are you silent or were you silenced?
Exactly. Something to consider, right? So signs of childhood trauma, and this is now for adults, right? There are many different ways in which the lingering effects of childhood trauma can influence your adulthood, including, and we're going to list a few. Most of us know it as PTSD, but we don't know what it stands for. So let y'all know. Go ahead.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
After she read my page.
That's
but yes, right, PTSD. So while many people are aware of PTSD, which stems from unresolved trauma, this is a very specific mental health issue that doesn't develop in everyone who experiences trauma, right? So it doesn't mean that because you went through trauma, we all out here are PTSD. No, that's not what it means. In fact, only 3% to 15% of girls and 1% to 6% of boys experience PTSD after a traumatic experience. Right? I'd probably need a psychologist to explain why females experience it deeper, probably emotional, and we overthink things and all of that.
I guess.
So that could be a part of it. But that said, some of the signs of PTSD include reliving the event. That's one of the things. So you probably have PTSD if you have frequent flashbacks or nightmares of your traumatic experience. Anybody can relate to that? Envy evaluate himself. I'm listening, all right?
But you have flashback?
Yeah, flashbacks and nightmares. So you even dream about it.
I mean, probably like, the little fool things that we got like primary school or high school days where you say Jano.
No, not that.
You get what I say? But
no,
don't really have anything where you probably say traumatic flashback.
I say that Mama Knows. I think you have one?
I have one, yeah.
Mama Knows. I think those stats are wrong, especially for the men. Because they don't talk about their trauma as much. So she's saying probably those research statistics may not be right. No, overall, not necessarily. That's a message. So it may not be Jamaica, but
Jamaican stats are different. We know we talk less.
But I'm sure we can probably all relate to reliving certain events. We also have avoidance. So for some of us who avoid certain responsibilities or we know something coming, so we just avoid everything. You're not necessarily dealing with your problems head on or trying to handle it or anything. You're just avoiding. That's another thing, right? Probably you've been traumatized by something as a child, and your answer to it now is just avoid it. Don't deal with it. If you have an issue, don't confront it, don't talk it out, because probably it might blow up to something bigger, so you prefer to not say anything. That's another traumatic response. You have anxiety. Mama Knows mentioned this earlier. That's one. You have depression, you have anger, you have problems with trust. And this one is regular, especially in relationships. Almost every relationship, everybody talking about, you see, this way I struggle to trust people, and I not trust nobody completely again. And these are things, these are traumatic experiences that we've had with trusting somebody before. And as such, we feel like going forward in life, I can never do that again. right? Even if the person is worth trusting, well, me not gonna ever know because I'm not going to do it. That's a traumatic experience, right?
And then Pinky over here says the reason why the percentage is gonna be greater for women is that we know women are emotional, more emotional.
That's what I was thinking initially, probably because we're more,
and the men are the logical ones,
or maybe we're susceptible to traumatic experiences
due to the emotions.
Due to that, we're females.
I think it's emotions too.
Due to that, we're females.
People think that the sound effects are gonna make it more connected, I don't know what you're saying.
And then another sign of PTSD is self-destructive or risky behaviors.
Yeah.
So this one we see a lot in our society.
Downward spiral,
right? That's why we probably wonder why the boys in the community doing these things and I rob people and this and that, and we probably just think, oh, them just bad.
Right.
You know, them just choose to be bad. Sometimes it's some traumatic experience that they have not dealt with, and for some reason this gives them a thrill. This gives them something that I probably can't put into words what they feel, but it gives them something, and as such they seek that self-destructive and risky feeling.
Kim,
you know?
There are two young ladies that are in the community group that I've been working with, and I'm saying it's two sensible, proper looking people. Like them, you know, when people say you can look past somebody and say, oh, a troublemaker, them look like troublemaker, right? But it's like one incident, I see one of the father one time walking down the road, and you know, I wasn't the one asking. Somebody just said, well, like I say, yo, Mark, where you go? Man said, I'm going to a police station if you go look for him daughter. Because apparently she in some fight or something, and then one person gone to police. Like, I'm sure these girls are probably like 14, 13. I mean, I said, this can't be
police station.
Exactly.
No,
yeah, I said, like, and then it's like, I don't see like a reason they're not in a circle for say, boy, probably a seat in the community, but they're not in a circle.
Environment,
but it has such an impact on them. It's like them not see no way out for say, you know, like, okay, I'm going to go to school and try to get out. No, them just like a giant the cycle will go on.
Exactly. And then you have the last one, withdrawal. This is another sign of PTSD, right? We all of us shut down and withdraw from everything. So you know them people that them always check on your friends, right? Because you have people, not only the strong ones, but everybody, because they are the people that sometimes we just go MIA.
Yeah.
Then just go. I've done that. I will probably be home all weekend and nobody can get me on the phone, nothing at all, because I don't know if it's trauma, but you're dealing with something, and for some reason I feel like my withdrawal was the answer. It just needs to be more own space, deal with this, and chances are in my own space, I don't really deal with this. No, I watch Netflix or something, but I just don't want to.
No, but that is also part of dealing with it as well. Sometimes you have to cool down, get a lighter side of life.
Distract yourself.
Sometimes
you know?
pulling yourself from the regular crowd gets you to a place where you might not realize that it helps you.
They are too, but if you see if you do it like...
Oh, she said for the weekend. So that's a good thing to do. For a weekend, not bad.
Always shake it off, but it happens.
And then, well, Pinky says people have problems trusting people in relationships, most likely because they fail to set boundaries.
And that's another part of it. And even if they do set it, they don't keep it, right? So that's another thing to consider. So if any of these apply to you as an adult, for no reason that you can think of, then there is some cause for concern, as you may be dealing with unresolved PTSD from your childhood, right? Another result of trauma can be, and this is in adults once again, attachment and relationships. So you have some struggles when it comes to attachment and relationships, right?
And she says before you move on, she says check on your friends and offer rum. Alright, but you say attachment issues.
Attachment
that means
and relationship issues, right?
That means clinging, the clingy ones.
Well, hold on. Mama No said, I'm guilty of that. Tired forget cuss, but can't help it. Sometimes I just need to pull away to recharge and reevaluate the withdrawal, you know? Yeah. So we struggle with attachment and relationships. So another warning flag of childhood trauma that carries over into adulthood are problems forming attachments and relationships. For example, if your childhood trauma was caused by a loved one or caregiver, you may learn to mistrust adults. This mistrust can carry over into your adulthood and affect your ability to form relationships with others. Or perhaps you consistently form unhealthy relationships with people who aren't good for you.
Toxic.
Since that is what you know from your childhood, right? A victim of child abuse may marry an abusive spouse, for example, right? Because that's what they were taught. Whatever the case, if you struggle with forming healthy relationships with your peers, so not only in romantic relationships, just people around you, this may be a sign of unresolved childhood trauma. So this, I hear a lot of the time people say, oh, you know, girls with daddy issues. And chances are it's because either the dad wasn't there or the dad, it may have been some type of
wrong
physical, sexual, you know, something, emotional abuse, all those things, right? So I think most people joke about, oh, these girls out here having daddy issues. No, it's trauma, and they don't joke about people's trauma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the girls, them joke about it to some
I know,
but,
and because that's how society paints it.
A coping mechanism.
Society water down it.
No, that's water it down, make it seem like, oh, this is the norm now. So you know what, it's the cool thing to say, yeah, I got daddy issues. No, don't, you know, it's not something to celebrate, right? So it's something we need to look into. Then you also have, as adults, we struggle with emotional regulation and responses, right? So another side effect of childhood trauma may be problems regulating your emotions. You don't know how to control it. You don't know whether you for, you know, keep it down or, you don't know how to really, as I say, regulate it. There are many ways in which this problem can manifest itself, including uncontrollable anger. So you have some people, you know, it's when them get upset, I don't like them just see red.
Yeah.
Them not, there's no logic in them brain at that point, right? So that uncontrollable anger is a sign of trauma. Anxiety, depression, the inability to even express your emotion. You can't even explain what's going on. And once again, withdrawal, right? Again, these are just some examples, and you may experience different issues when it comes to regulating your emotional health. Then another thing that most of us don't look at is our physical health. Trauma can affect our physical health. And even before doing the research on this, I was like, you know, that's true, because all people eat over their problems, or they don't eat, you know, stuff like that. Something as simple as that, you know, can actually be from trauma. So because you're traumatized, and so you hide your feelings in food, you know, you're probably not even hungry, but you just keep doing that. And eventually, you know, you have you're overweight, you probably have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attack around the corner, you know, stuff like that. So trauma also affects your physical health. So while childhood trauma can directly affect your mental and emotional health, it can also influence your physical health. For example, studies show that kids who were subjected to abuse were more at risk for serious health issues, including diabetes, asthma, stroke, and coronary artery disease. Suicide attempts are also shown to be considerably higher among adults who experience childhood trauma, right? So some of these things is not just as adults, them get up today and decide, say, you know what, I want to commit suicide. Sometimes a seed that was planted from them young, thinking that they're not good enough, they weren't worth it. Then, God forbid, eventually they find a spouse and they feel like the person have value me, then the spouse left. You can imagine, that's a seed that now they're reminded. Exactly. So it's like you probably always felt like you're not good enough and nobody don't really care. Everybody left you. You find somebody and then this person leaves you too. And I think that's one of the things that we see in society, where these men out here killing the woman and kill themselves. Because they feel like whatever need they need to be filled, or the void that you hold for them. And women doing it too. Okay, the woman them I've seen quite a few now coming out now more than before. And it's because we feel like, okay, that whatever safety they gave us, or whatever trauma that we've used that person to help cover and heal in us, the person they know God, and as such, what am I going to do? And then we just see red and we react accordingly, you know, because we don't know how else to cope. So that's something to consider. And then the last one, mental health conditions. So this is something I hear people saying a lot these days. Boy, Jamaicans are we have mental health problems. Yes, we do.
Facts.
We do. And it's not just the ones committing crime and doing things that we don't understand. We have people in everyday life.
Civilians.
What is just exactly
right.
everyday life.
Sometimes I feel like we're sometimes an angry set of people. Like we walk into a place early in the morning, as bright as it is, and you're grumpy, and I'm not a grumpy person unless
no food.
And I walk into a food joint and I go, good morning, and the ladies morning, and I'm like, let's try that again.
Yep.
And I'm gonna try it again. Good morning.
Wow, you're optimistic.
How
man,
are you this
Move on with your
morning?
life. Order your chicken and enjoy your day.
Cause here, what you're gonna do? You're gonna make that same food with the grumpiness, and all of that grumpiness is gonna transpire over here. No, we're gonna try it again.
All right, when you motivate her, you might motivate her for different things, but usually the cashier different from the shearer. So I'm gonna two.
Well, MV, Mama knows, say MV quiet and in processing mode this week, you know, man. The face of deep thought is there. Right? And then she says, even though the eating too much or not eating at all, trauma stress overall causes issues with the body and how it functions. So yeah, overall, just even how the body functions on its own.
Yeah.
Because the body's supposed to function like a well-oiled machine. Half these things we think we have to be doing with vitamins, and so the body already has all of that, right? But because we've gone through traumatic experiences, sometimes we throw that off. Probably we're not sleep, lack of sleep, throw off a whole heap of things, you know, or we can't be focused, or all these things happen. So it's not even just the whole eating or not eating, as you said. It just naturally disrupts the body's natural rhythm, right? And as we said, mental health condition. Studies usually show a significant link between childhood trauma and the likelihood of developing mental health conditions as adults. Children who experience trauma typically have a higher risk of developing various mental illnesses, right? So, to wrap it up, how to heal from childhood trauma. Just as your childhood trauma may be a unique and individual experience, your path to healing from it will likely be specific to you. So there's not a one-size-fits-all. I can't write out a manual and say, here, everybody, go forth and do these things and you'll be fine. No, it's unique to you. And as such, the trauma is unique to you. So the solution as well has to be unique to you, right? Recovering from childhood trauma can be a lengthy process that may leave you feeling worse before feeling better, right?
Yep.
That's a real thing.
Yep.
It may carry you further down into depression before it heals you, right? But mental health is often an area that requires you to trust the process.
That sounds safe, but you know.
So talk therapy can offer the support and guidance of an expert as well. So we need to consider working with therapists as well. I know most people feel like, oh, therapy is for people who have a mental concern or a mental condition. No, anyone away. Because half of we don't know we have mental conditions.
Right.
I always tell people there's a very thin line between sanity and insanity. And the sad part about that, most people, or I think all of us, sometimes can't tell when you cross the line there. A lot of we probably cross the line a long time and we don't even realize.
Remember, so we already have brag about the line, or we pass it, you know, so when we really pass it, we're not sure, because we don't say we're mad long time.
Exactly.
But Bellevue is a good place still.
Yeah. Yeah,
no,
definitely.
For real, like Bellevue is that place.
I mean, I think we did probably,
we need more of them because we don't have enough.
Yeah.
The places for people with mental health conditions are concerned.
Like you can literally check Bellevue, and you know, it's not for mad people as
we like to paint it, right?
Yeah, you can see a
for mental health, really.
So working with a licensed therapist can help you learn practical coping skills to manage your symptoms and process your unresolved feelings. You can also build your communication skills to learn how to express your emotions and needs in a healthy, effective manner. So, experiencing or witnessing trauma during childhood can lead to PTSD and other mental health conditions. Childhood trauma can drastically affect adult behavior, from influencing how you relate to other people to causing debilitating symptoms that may prevent you from functioning properly. Therapy with a licensed mental health professional, whether it's completed in person or online, can be an effective way to address childhood trauma and thrive in your adult life.
All right.
Right? So it's something for us to consider. As I said, I think all of us at some point or another have experienced trauma, but do we really know if we've healed from it? Do we even know how to heal from it if we don't know that we have these things? Because I see a lot of these attachment issues and relationship issues and people just not thinking that they're worth anything, or all of these things. I see it all around us. I feel like it is probably very predominant in society, but what are we doing about it, right? So I really think we need to spend some time reflecting, looking into yourself, seeing if any of these things connected with you. As I said, these episodes are recorded. So if you missed anything, check it out on our YouTube channel, Funtastic Fridays. We have it there for you. And you can go and re-listen and actually, make notes and reason with yourself. And if not, seek a trusted friend, family member, loved one, or if you can, a licensed therapist. All right, that is their job. So thank you guys for the feedback and for tuning in as usual. It was a good conversation for me. I don't know what you guys think.
I enjoyed it particularly. It got me thinking though.
It got you thinking.
It got me thinking on some things that maybe I think maybe there are sometimes you just need to slow down. Because I know earlier this year I had to do a huge slowdown. I had to dial it 10 steps. I had to, like how you went into that, weekend thing. Yeah. I had to take 2 weeks. School started, I was out of school because I could not see how I would have moved forward. And I had to dial it 10 steps back. I had to do my journaling. I had to make peace with the situation that was happening. And I had to just say, you know what? Let it go and let God, because
amen.
I can't do it by myself.
Exactly. So guys, as I said, just try to look into yourself, see if you can relate to it, and we'll probably have more conversations about this. So just ensure you tune in to Talk the Ting with Kim on Funtastic Fridays. It was a pleasure sharing this information with you guys, and I do hope that October will be a good month for you guys. Use October. Listen, don't make
a good month
overall, right? But don't make the year done. Don't make the year done with these things unresolved or unidentified. So guess what? Don't wait till New Year, new me. Right. The year will wrap up. Spend the next 3 months. Evaluate yourself.
And then the new month starts on a new week. So that also kind of gets your mind focused. It starts on a Sunday.
Start exercising.
It just starts Sunday though, like it's very close.
Right.
So organize yourself tomorrow. Get ready for Sunday.
And Mama knows I enjoyed it. Already knew I was affected in many ways by some of these. But it's always a work in progress. But I'm committed to working consistently on not passing down the trauma to my kids.
Yeah, that's key.
And just being more aware for them as well. I love that. Thank you guys. Stay safe. See you next week.
Have a fantastic weekend.